Good morning. I am going to be doing a recording on comparing and ordering decimals. So, of course, this is a review for you guys. So I'm sure it's going to be super easy. But I just wanted to review the basic skills using our place value charts, or simply just lining up our numbers using place value, because some of you don't actually use the charts, which is fine, but I'm going to show you both ways today as a quick review. So let me get my stuff pulled up. Okay. The first thing that I'm going to pull up is the place value chart. So we're going to just put our numbers on the actual chart for some of this. And then the other is a couple of problems. So the first problem that I wanted to look at says, let me make it big so you can see. All right, it says they want you to write 3 number sentences with comparison symbols that correctly compares the length of the object. So basically, we need to be able to figure out which one of these numbers is the biggest and then which is the smallest. So typically, we would just write out the numbers and then compare from place value to place value. So I'm just going to do that on my screen real quick. We have 0.749, which is 749 thousandths, 75 hundredths, 743 thousandths, and 77 hundredths. And so the technique basically is to compare from left to right. So starting in our ones place, of course, all of those numbers are zeros, so we can't use that to compare. And then if we look in our tenths place, our tenths show us that all of those numbers are 7, so they're equal. So what should we do next? We should definitely move over to the hundredths place to compare. And I'm going to underline in green so that we can see that we're doing something different. And then of those numbers underlined, since we're going to be ordering them from least to greatest, we want to be able to figure out which is the smallest number. And so if you can look here, we have 4, 5, 4, and 3. So of those numbers, which is the smallest? Of course, those numbers, it's going to be 4. So of those two, the 749 thousandths and 743 thousandths, you want to go now to the last place value to see which of those numbers is the smallest. And as you can see, if we compare 9 and 3, 3 is a lot smaller than 9. So the first number that we can list from least to greatest would be 743 thousandths and mark it off. So of course that means that the number next to it, the next to smallest, would be the one that we had just compared, which would be 749 thousandths. So we're done with those two. We want to go back to 75 hundredths and 77 hundredths. And then the 7 and 7 are the same. We're comparing 5 and 7, which is the smallest. The 5 is smallest. So the next number in our list should then be 75 hundredths. And then the biggest number would be 77 hundredths. And so from there, you have that option. I'm going to clear that out. And pull a place value chart back up. And then I'm going to show you the problem side by side just so that you can actually go back to these whenever you get a chance. And so here we are. We have our numbers. And so the best thing to do is to try and actually write those numbers out on the place value chart. And so since the first number is 749 thousandths, I would write that number into the place value chart. We don't have any number in our, well, we can write 0. Have 0 ones, 7 tenths, 4 hundredths, and 9 thousandths. The next number, 75 hundredths, 743 thousandths, and 77 hundredths. And again, this is the same exact thing. If you don't have a place value chart at home, you can copy this one down into your notebooks and just follow the examples as such. And so we're looking at our ones, they're the same, so we can't use it. We're looking at our tenths, they're the same, so we can't use it to compare. So we're now looking in our hundredths place for the smallest number or for the biggest number, depending on if your problem is asking for you to list your numbers from least to greatest. And so since I wanted you guys to do least to greatest this time, we're looking for the smallest number. And so we have 4, 5, 4, and 7. The 2 4s are going to be the smallest numbers. And so with those two numbers, you want to go over to the 9 and 3 to see which is the smallest. It's going to be 3. So that would be the first number that you would actually write down as for your list for least to greatest. So we're done with it. We can go back here and write that number down, which is 749 thousandths. Go back to our chart. We have 75 hundredths or 77 hundredths. Our 7s are the same, 5 and 7, which is the smallest 5 is. So that would be the next number in the list that you would be writing. And then, of course, the biggest number would be 77 hundredths. So that is how you use your actual place value chart to do this one. I want to work one more problem. So I'm going to clear out my ink. And bring in one more problem for you guys. Okay, so this problem says, Tiffany is training for a marathon. On Monday, she ran 24 and 58 kilometers. On Tuesday, she ran 24 and 7/10 kilometers. On Wednesday, she ran 25 and 800 kilometers. And on Thursday, she ran 25 and 3/10 kilometers, which correctly compares the distances that Tiffany ran. So we first need to put them in order from least to greatest. And then we can use that comparison chart without a problem. Okay, so you can, again, place those numbers in the place value chart. I'm just going to list them here. So the numbers that we have are 24.58. And if you are lining these up or you're writing the numbers out without your place value chart, be careful to line up your decimals. 24 and 7/10. On Wednesday, 25.08, which is 25 and 800ths. And last but not least, 25 and 3/10. They're not asking you to do any particular order from least to greatest, but we can put our numbers They're actually, if you look at these, they're already in order from least to greatest. 24 and 24 are smaller than 25 and 25. And if you look here, 5 is smaller than 7. So these are in order. And then we have 25, 25. 0 is smaller than the 3. So these are in order. So now we simply need to look at letters F, G, H, and J to see if these statements are actually correct. So for F, it says that 24 and 7/10 is smaller than, I'm going to put in some check marks over here. 24 and 7/10 is smaller than 24 and 5/8. This is the smallest in this order, 3 and 4. Is 24.7 smaller than 24 and 5/5800ths? The answer to that is absolutely not, because it's second in the list. So with that being said, it's no reason to finish reading the rest of that statement because it's incorrect. All right. I want to go ahead and let me erase the ink again so that you can see this clearly. So we've already marked this one off. So this statement for letter G says that 24.58 is greater than 24 and 7/10 is greater than. So we compare these two numbers. 24 is the same, 5 and 7. This number is smaller. The 5 is actually smaller than the 7, which means that 24 and 5800ths is smaller than the 24 and 7/10, which means this number is greater. So that statement obviously cannot be true. That one is incorrect. Letter H says that 24 and 7/10 is greater than 24 and 5800ths. That is true. 24.7, 24.5. This is definitely greater than that part. So the first statement of H is correct, but we need to check the 25.3, or 25 and 3/10 and 25 and 800ths to see if the 3/10 is smaller than the 800ths. So if we go in order, 25, 25 are the same, so we can't compare. We're looking at our 0 and our 3. 0 in the 10th place and 3 in the 10th place. 0 is smaller. This one is greater. So the statement said that 25 and 3/10 is smaller than, but we just worked it out and we realized that it's actually greater than. So this part of the statement is incorrect, which cannot be true. So it leave us with J, which has to be right. But for the sake of working the problem, I'm going to clear out my ink again, and we're going to compare that number on the screen. 24 and 5800ths is less than 24 and 7/10 is what that says. Let's compare our numbers. 2 and 2 are the same. 4 and 4 are the same, so we can't compare. We have 5 and 7. 5 is smaller than the 7, which means that it is less than 24 and 7/10. So that is true. And then, of course, we want to look at, again, 25 and 3/10 and 25 and 800ths. The statement here says that 25 and 3/10 is greater than. So we can look at these and see that those numbers are the same. We want to look at the 3 and look at the 0 to see which is greater, 0 or 3. The 3 is larger than the 0, so that means that 25 and 3/10 is greater than 25 and 800. So J would be the correct answer. That is all for today. Your assignment will be posted on the link that I will be posting in Class Dojo. Good luck, and leave me any questions that you guys have. Thank you.